no such thing as bad publicity.
Hey, dude. I think that's your mom. Dude, don't go in there. You're not good enough to kill them. You're gonna die. Ah, didn't I warn you? Didn't I warn you? Dude, didn't I warn you? Didn't I warn you? Oh my god. The dino girl, you're a bimbo. And you're a fat virgin. No, that's you. No, Necro, you wanna play?
Sure, man. Why not?
That guy would never play with you. He doesn't play with losers. Yo, unmute him, Dino Girl. Listen to it. She won't do it. She's scared. The biggest fucking dweeb in America right here. I've heard Americans were dumb, but I didn't know they were this dumb, bitch. You're such a fucking yeah. Pig. You know, it's actually been scientifically proven that when you don't have a response, you just laugh because you're dumb. So thanks for proving me right again. Your life is so meaningful. Yeah. I play Fortnite at 4 a.m. and just talk shit from the start. It's not even 4 a.m. where I live, dumbass, bitch. You fucking nerd. Yeah, but you don't know about time zones, do you? Fucking dweeb, nerd, faggot, virgin. Wow, your laugh sounds like somebody's shitting in a raccoon's mouth. That's what it sounds like when you laugh. I hope you realize that if you call somebody a faggot, that means you're a faggot. So you shut the fuck up, faggot. So you're a faggot. No, you just call me a faggot. Bitch, shut the bitch up. So you're a bitch. You called me a bitch, right? Listen, you don't know a damn thing. And your girlfriend hates you. I don't have a girlfriend, dude. Oh, you don't? I knew it, virgin. Go get a girlfriend. Oh, wait, you can't, because your pee-pee is not big like a toaster. Big like a toaster. Shut the fuck up. Faggot. That's offensive. Okay, Dino, are you gonna play this or what are you doing? Dino won't leave. She's addicted to my dick. She's trying to play hard to get because she knows I can get like 50 other girls. So she's like, oh no, I gotta play hard to get. But she wants my penis.
No.
So you're proving me right. You're playing hard to get. You're playing hard to get.
I'm engaged. So
yeah, you're engaged with my penis. This is all. Just flirt with him, please.
No.
She doesn't. God, no. She's already doing it, dude. You don't know. You don't know anything about women if you don't think she's flirting with me right now. Who the fuck was that? Was that your grandpa? Was that your grandpa? Was that? Old man, step aside. The young buck is here. Tell him to get on the mic and talk to me like a real man.
Fuck your daddy too. Fuck his ass while you gotta swap my cum between your mouth.
Wait, that's your homosexual fantasies? Not interested. He wants to suck my dick? Ew, I don't like when guys do that.
Come on, stutter. You don't even know what to say anymore, you little bitch ass. I can hear you across the room, you fuck-faced faggot.
Excuse me, I don't want you to suck my penis. Can you relax?
Come on, you gonna say something?
Oh, I get it. He needs to turn his turning aid up. He needs to turn the turning machine up, hearing machine. Hey, Grandpa, turn him up so you can hear him.
And he thinks because he's from Russia and that we're Americans, we're incompetent.
Bitch, you don't know a damn thing, bitch.
At least I know how to form proper sentences.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. And your boyfriend is 100 years old.
Motherfucker, sit there and kill yourself by shooting crocodile up your fucking neck all day.
Get him on the mic. See how cocky he is when he talks to me on one-on-one. He's a pussy. He won't talk to me one-on-one. Get him on the mic. He's a little bitch. He won't even talk to me one-on-one because he's a little bitch. Get him on the mic.
Keep your stupid ass where the fuck you're at and shut the fuck up. You lost a war that didn't even happen.
Yo, bitch, I'm gonna kick your ass if you keep talking, boy.
More of a man than you'll ever be.
Boy, don't make me come over there, boy, and kick your boy ass, boy, Game Boy.
Boy, Game Boy.
Oh, you're copying me because you look up to me. You look up to me? Copying, that's a flattering way of looking up to somebody.
Who the fuck is still talking?
He's the one still talking. Damn, that guy is a little bitch. He's getting mad over a video game. That's sad.
It sucks. Fuck the medkit.
Huh? Fuck the medkit?
Give me that, bitch. Dino Girl, I think I found your room. This is your room, right? Okay, lady. Time to make me a sandwich. Wow, American women don't know their place. No wonder your
Oh.
husband is so mad, yelling all the time.
Yeah, he's yelling at your dumb bitch ass.
So I do think all publicity is good publicity until perhaps you've reached a certain stage when you are well known enough.
Joe Lam is one of Hong Kong's most controversial KOL. This Oxford graduate went from law to the entertainment industry and now works in insurance. What is his mindset and how does he deal with constant criticism?
So Joe,
Darren,
on the show.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's like I think last time we met was like a month ago.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happened to you.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think it was February, and then he even told me that the incidents with Derek. And then, but today I want to focus on something that I always want to ask you because I'm in the real estate industry,
Right.
and then I really want to explore how can someone go online. A lot of people in our industry, really afraid to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
So I want to start with, a couple questions about how you deal with haters, and then there are a lot of people that don't really agree with how you promote yourself or present yourself.
Yeah.
And then I want to know, like, why do you want to create that image? Is that for fun or? that's you really believe in what you said?
Well, I think it's quite simple. You've got to know what your goal is, and you've got to focus on that goal. In my opinion, you can't worry about anything else, how you look, what you're thought of, whatever, until you're known. So I do think all publicity is good publicity until perhaps you've reached a certain stage when you are well known enough. Now, so my goal, the one I set out with, is to be known. It's simple as that. There's nothing else to it. And in order to do that, it takes whatever. That's why perhaps sometimes the publicity that I receive is negative, because I don't care. My goal is simple. You've got to know who I am. And I think I've, to a certain extent, achieved it.
I see. So I want to dive down a little bit to know more about how does that, their thought process and how to get towards it, and then your journey. Like how does a barrister like yourself become the Joe Lam people think about you today?
I've hardly changed ever since I was, I think, 16 or so, when I was still in boarding school in the UK. I only met up with some of my old friends recently, and the view is that it's always been my way. I didn't really know what to do post-university. I was at Oxford in my third year, and I was doing mathematics with a bit of philosophy, and it was completely impractical, irrelevant to the real world. Never had to think about a job. Looking back, I do blame my mother for allowing me too much freedom, and I never properly looked for a job. So I had no choice. My then girlfriend was studying law at Oxford, a year below me, and she said to me, "You know what? You can debate, and you seem to be very logical, analytical. Why don't you try and switch to law instead?" And I then simply didn't want to enter the society and work. So I said, all right, let me do some law training, study a course, and see what happens. So I then went to London and did a law conversion course for a year. Then I realized law is not hard. I mean, a common misconception, there's so much misconception everywhere about everything. I realized law is definitely easier than the disciplines I was in. It was easier than mathematics. It was way easier than philosophy. So I didn't struggle. I had no problem with it. So I thought, why not continue and receive the qualifications in order to become a proper lawyer? I then did exactly that, back in Hong Kong, and I was qualified 2 years later and became a barrister, because I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do an office job. Barristers are very much self-employed, and you get to go to the court. I wanted to be out there. I didn't want to sit behind a desk. So it went like that. Naturally, I didn't put much thought to it. Now, and then I realized you can't actually make that much money in Hong Kong these days being a barrister. No one would tell you, would review the true, real figures until you are sitting next to a pupil master, you being the pupil, and you see the numbers. And then I was shocked. I mean, it was too bad. It wasn't too bad, but it wasn't good enough. And there were 2 reported cases, court cases, that involved barristers as one of the parties to the case.
Oh my god, what the fuck
And
are
it was
you talking
then
about?
through
Bro?
these 2 cases that I realized, oh no.
Oh my god, I shouldn't download this shit. X, I don't want to download it. 그게 뜻이 뭔지 모르겠어. 얼굴을 팔리다. 그게 뜻이 뭐지? 얼굴을 팔리다.
Welcome to Newport Beach, California, one of the most wealthiest places in the US of A. Today, we're going to be asking strangers, what do you do for work? How much money do you make? How can one make $1 million cash? We got to find some contestants. Excuse me, sir. How's it going? What do you do for work?
I'm a food surgeon.
Oh, wow. How much do you make annually?
Anywhere between 400, 600,000 a year.
400, 600,000. You like doing it? Love it. Is there any tips that you would give anybody on how to get started?
It's just a long road. You sacrifice a lot. Like I've missed funerals, bachelor parties, weddings.
Yeah.
But it's worth it to be able to get people moving and get people moving good love again.
100%. Hey man, thank you so much for your
No
time.
problem.
Hey man, $400,000, $600,000 as an orthopedic surgeon. That's a lot of money. Mind if we ask you a few questions? It's just for our financial video. Stand by the way. Nice to meet you. What do you do for work?
Real estate investing.
Real estate investing.
Yeah.
And how much money do you make annually?
Between 5 to 7.
5 to 7
What
million.
the
Wow.
fuck?
And do you love what you do?
With everything I have.
Yeah. How long have you been doing it?
Yo, what?
Stand by the way. Nice to meet you. What do you do for work?
Real estate investing.
Real estate investing.
Yeah.
And how much money do you make annually?
Between 5 to 7.
와 미친. 50억 스트레스.
5 to 7 million. Wow.
Something like that.
And do you love what you do?
With everything I have.
Yeah. How long have you been doing it for?
Since I was 18.
18. How old are you now?
I'm just turned 30.
30. Wow. So 12 years. Is there any tips that you would give anyone that's trying to get into what you're getting into?
Persevere, but I'd say, stay strong, stay headstrong, whatever you're doing. Find someone that does it way better than you. At the end of the day, you'll figure out either you want to do it or it's going to be something that's going to it's going to take you all the way.
I appreciate it.
Man.
Thank
That's
you for your
it's a
time.
pleasure to meet you, man.
Nice to meet
Of course,
you.
brother. Yeah.
Never nervous. Because I've been doing this for 6 years. That's why. How's it going, sir? You mind if we ask you 2 questions? I'm Stan, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Mike.
New Jay. Mike, good. I'm good. So, question. What
Yes,
do you do
sir.
for work?
I own a little construction consulting business.
Okay. Do you have any tips on how to get started at what you're doing right now?
Work hard. It's not just done overnight. It takes time. If people want to get rich quick,
So there's no shortcuts is what you're saying?
no shortcuts in life. So sometimes people can get lucky, but most people are successful over time. It
I
takes
feel
time
that.
to.
I like that. Any money-saving tips that you would give or like that you have?
get out of debt. That way you got even if anybody calling you and looking for money, whatever. I mean, that's the best thing in the world is to, if you're successful, you don't need to borrow. You need to borrow money for certain things, but don't borrow money for every little nickel and dime. It doesn't. All you do is give your money out to someone else.
Yeah, no, I like
Right?
that. Hey,
So,
thank you so much for your time, man. Yeah, sorry to bother you
Guys.
again, and we appreciate
no worries.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Have a good one. Now, I'm definitely not soliciting here, but it is what it is. Oh, we got another gentleman here. Boom. Hey, so far we're 3 for 3. Actually, we're 3 for 4, but Jose didn't catch that footage. Excuse me, sir. You mind if I ask you 2 questions for a quick video? Okay. All right, my bad. I'm out. Video? Okay. Excuse me, sir. You mind if I ask you 2 questions for a quick video? Okay. All right, my bad. I'm out. Excuse me, guys. You mind if I ask you 2 questions for a quick video? Yeah. Okay, so we're out here in Newport Beach, and we're just asking individuals like yourself, what do you guys do for work?
Drug dealer.
Don't do that to me, bro. Are you really in the narcotics field, or?
I have a number of U.S. and foreign patents that I've invented products and licensed out to manufacturers, and they send me royalty checks.
How much would you say that produces you annually?
$700,000 a year.
$700,000. And do you have any? Just keeps coming in, huh? So $700,000 a year. That's a lot of money. Now, do you have any money saving tips to anybody watching right now?
Stock market.
Stock market.
Stock, keep it over the long haul.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank
you. We get rejected out here, but remember, rejection means redirection. Write it down. You mind if I ask you 2 questions real quick? All right, man. Take care. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no worries. We're getting rejected left to right, but it's all good because Jose got the tights. 2 questions real quick. We just want to know what you do for work and how much do you make per year?
I work in commercial real estate.
Okay.
And it's a commission-only job.
I see.
So it fluctuates.
Yeah. How long you been doing it for?
About 45 years.
Any tips you want to give to anybody that wants to do what you do, to how to get started?
I think always be curious, always work hard, and make sure you're working with the right people.
My man, thank you so much for your time. My brother, you mind if I get you in the video real quick, man? You looking fly. I see the fit. I see the drip, bro. I see the drip. Hey, we just want to know, what do you do for work?
I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own company.
Okay. What kind of company is it?
I have a sales and marketing company.
Okay. How long you been doing that for?
35 years.
35 years. And you look young, bro. You look like you're 35.
Yeah. That's when you're living good, right?
Yeah.
But I maintain an SSOM. That's a superior state of mind.
Okay.
So when you have a superior state of mind, it's like it's a third way approach.
Okay.
Somebody might see the jug half empty. Somebody might see the jug half full. The third way approach is cut the top off.
Okay.
And you get a full jug.
I like that.
So every problem, every solution, every challenge, you always look at it 3-pronged. That got me a long way. Got me far.
How much would you say you generate annually from what you do?
50 million.
50 million?
What the fuck?
Bro. I'm inspired. That's what's up, man. Any tips? Any tips you want to give on how you got started?
I bootstrapped my way to $1 million, man.
Okay.
I started off being a true student of the profession, right?
Okay.
So a lot of people say work smart, not hard.
Right. 100%.
But if you work real hard, that is smart.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You have to have the work ethic. Success, 99% is just showing up. I remember first $1 million in 1997 and lost it in 98.
Wow.
And I did it 5 times.
Wow. So you have to kind of reinvent yourself.
So no, what I had to do was learn. The man with experience being a man with money, you know what happens?
What?
The man with the experience ends up with the money, the man with some money ends up with the experience. Nobody taught me how to make $1 million. But once you learn how to make $1 million, you can always do it. What they don't teach you is how to keep it.
That is true.
And so you always know how to make it. The hardest thing is learning how to keep it. Because once you make it, you become a vault.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get in your bank.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
So learn to keep it. That's more important. So
like
you're going to be measured by what you save.
Yeah.
Not by what you spend.
Oh, yeah. My brother, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time. How you guys doing? You mind if we ask you 2 questions real quick for a video? Yeah. Okay, no worries. Take care. Rejection is more than saying sorry. No, that's from a movie. My brother, you mind being in the video for real quick for 2 questions? All good, man. Take care, man. We're just winging it, man. Hey, you guys have no idea how hard this is. I've been doing this for
디스코드 빨리 terminate Peter. Sahara Drayton. Oh, say, can you see on the downs early?
Half a decade, but like for the new people, I know what you're feeling. Excuse me, do you mind being in a quick video for just two questions? No? Okay, no problem. Thank you. Hi. You mind being in a video for 2 questions real fast? Okay, no worries.
Miss, they ask me how, like LeBron, I'm ring bound. No, look past it to the brown.
What do you do for work?
I sell tires.
You sell tires.
I literally sell tires.
Okay, how much does that produce you annually?
Depends on the year and the production, but
150. 150 is pretty good.
depends on the year, yeah.
Yeah. What's the tire shop? Or what's the
X-Com Tires.
You have it on here?
Oh, right here.
Okay.
Oh, that's it right there.
So you're the founder?
Small company, privately held.
Oh yeah. You have any tips on if people want to do what you do?
If you love what you do, you never work it in your life.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much.
Of course,
for your
dude.
time. Excuse me, sir. You mind if I ask you a few questions for a quick video?
Sure.
Cool. What's your name? I'm Snooze. Nice to meet you. What do you do for work?
I work in technology,
What company?
title insurance.
Any tips on how to get started and what you do?
Learn about the industry that you're interested in and look at opportunities of what you're passionate about and where your skills are. And I think that looking at areas where you can be helpful.
Heck yeah. And how long you been doing it for?
13 years.
13 years. And you love it, huh?
I did.
My man. Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
you.
guys.
My brother, you mind if I get you on a quick video? 2 questions? No? Hi, how's it going? You mind being in a video if we ask you 2 questions? My name is Snooze. Nice to meet you. Yeah, Susan. Nice to meet you. What do you do for work? Oh, okay. What did you do when you weren't retired?
I did special events.
Oh,
I did weddings.
okay.
Part-time.
Oh, nice. How much did that generate you annually?
I could make maybe in a good year 100.
100? That's still pretty good.
It was very good.
You love what you did, huh?
You have to because it's very tiring.
Yeah, no, I feel that. It seems like long hours and lots of planning and all of that. Any tips on anyone that wants to do what you do?
Just get some background to it. You just can't go into something like that knowing nothing.
Yeah.
It will eat you alive.
You think
And you'll
knowing
get sued over it.
knowing someone that does it already to help
You
you
have to
get
mentor
shortcuts?
it. I do.
Okay. You recommend a mentor?
Absolutely.
100%. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I
Well,
appreciate you. You mind being in a video real quick? 2 questions? No worries. Take care. Thank you. What do you do for work?
I'm a school board trustee.
Okay. Do you like what you do?
Yeah, I've been doing it for 16 years.
16 years. Wow. And how much would you say you generate per year?
Our budget is close to like $450 million.
Oh wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. Is there any tips you would give anybody if they wanted to do what you do?
First of all, I think someone has to be passionate about education,
Okay.
especially for all kids, and to make sure they're in this area, in this area. And our kids go on to do lots of things. They're the ones who you want to be talking to because they've already started businesses.
Gotcha.
They're going to college and beyond.
I love that. Yeah. No, thank you so much. All right, guys. So welcome to the mall where there's nobody here. As you can see, we got stores like Bossa Nova. Don't you bring me down today. You mind being in a quick YouTube video? Okay, you're good. You mind being in a quick YouTube video? Quick YouTube video? Okay, you're good. You mind being in a quick YouTube video? Okay. So, what do you do for a living?
I produce documentary film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are some of the documentaries you produce?
It's all about.
Yeah, the tech startup. You got any?
Best in tech, man.
In the metaverse.
They'll be in like the metaverse of learning. So people working their way into the metaverse and what Web3, like what it really does is it provides an embodied experience.
So the reason money makes the world go round is because that's our survival. But the question is why?
The common stereotype is that every Jew is wealthy, that they head the biggest companies in the world, own all the banks, and control the media, governments, the biggest restaurant chains, the largest import-export companies, the list goes on. Do these statements hold water? It may be a gross overgeneralization, but there is no denying that this group of people is more likely to have sound financial habits. It's an interesting topic, and the Jewish community as a whole has mostly avoided debating it for understandable reasons. According to a 2008 Pew Forum Institute survey, Jews are our nation's wealthiest religious community, with 46% generating over $100,000 a year compared to 18% of the general population. In terms of mega wealth, the recent Forbes ranking of the 400 wealthiest Americans had over 100 Jewish billionaires, an impressive figure for a community that accounts for less than 2% of the population. Jewish wealth is a stereotype. Yet in practically every civilization where Jews were allowed some kind of equal legal status, even if there had been social and religious inequality, they performed exceptionally well economically. Jews were by far the wealthiest group in Central and Western Europe and later in the United States. Because Jews were frequently banned from other sectors of economic activity, such as property ownership, they were always on the lookout for new markets, new items, or new means of retailing. They frequently began as peddlers in order to get access to undeveloped markets. This became a gateway to new kinds of retailing, including department shops, catalog sales, and box stores.
So here's the precautionary warning. You can get a lot of comfort from money. Your life is easier, more comfortable, broader, have a bigger vision, but it is not meant to produce happiness. And that's where the big mistake is.
That's not true.
Yes, money will give you comfort. It will not give you happiness because it won't give you satisfaction.
Money serves as both a store of value and a means of trade. Money has worth solely because people seem to agree to grant it value. Currency and bank accounts may have no inherent value, but money is valuable when everyone decides to use it. You've undoubtedly heard someone declare they don't care about money, and you may have even said it yourself. While this idea is good in principle, the fact is that, for better or worse, you should not underestimate the value of money. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs we know today are actually Jewish. Case in point, Mark Zuckerberg. His net worth is approximately $121.9 billion. Being the co-founder of Facebook made him the wealthiest Jewish person in the world. The next most successful Jewish man in the tech industry is Larry Page, the co-founder of Google. His inventions skyrocketed his status in the world and gave him a net worth of $105.6 billion. Overall, Jews in the United States constitute a very high-income population. Furthermore, about half of the Jewish people surveyed regard themselves as living comfortably, while 3/10 believe they can meet essential expenditures with a little money left over. Only another 15% say they just meet basic needs. There are several misconceptions concerning Jews and money. One of the most prevalent anti-Semitic stereotypes is that Jews dominate the international economy and the financial industry. This falsehood was published in the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and Adolf Hitler used it as a reason for exterminating Europe's Jewish people. In addition to that, the community is represented as selfish and cheap, along with being wealthy. The truth is that the Torah obligates Jews to provide charity, improve the world, and be truthful. Many Jews, especially Orthodox Jews, will go to the Torah for guidance when it comes to money. The Torah, as well as other works, provide clear advice on a range of themes, such as charity donations to benefit one's community, not stealing, and not being greedy.
There are three characteristics of the Jewish people. You can identify them by that. What are those characteristics? They are Rachmanim. They have compassion. They have compassion for those that suffer. They feel with us.
Giving tzedakah, or charity, is an essential mitzvah, or duty, that many Jews follow. Every Jew, regardless of financial situation, is expected to contribute 10% of their earnings to the poor. If they are unable to make that payment, volunteering and doing something beneficial for others can also count as charity. Many people would save their spare change or cash in a personal tzedakah box, which resembles a piggy bank. They'll contribute it to a charitable cause when the box is full, and it could be anything from a food bank to an elder care facility. The final donation is usually provided in the form of a check. Tzedakah boxes can also be seen at kosher grocery shops and other Jewish businesses, allowing consumers to easily make donations to the poor. Jews are not required to make a certain number of gifts each year, although many religious people will donate tzedakah before Shabbat, which is the day of rest. It is also customary to lay aside funds for charity purposes before significant festivals, like Yom Kippur. Money is essential in the Jewish community because it allows Jews to preserve their tradition. Strongly encouraged Pew set of the quality. Christians have an average of 9.3 years in school. High credentials obviously lead to better, well-paying jobs. Of the Talmud who are willing to and
Oh, this video is terrible, bro. What the fuck? Oh my god, this guy.
Yeah, at one point, Jolo had more spending power than just about anyone on Earth because he had liquid cash in his account that was stolen.
This fraud is unbelievable because Jolo just stole billions of dollars almost overnight.
investigators.
This
have
guy is
called it one of
actually
the
hilarious, bro. Jolo. The man who robbed the entire country. Joel. Joel. Oh, this guy's hilarious, bro. Oh my god, this guy. He looks hilarious though. He looks like a freaking. He looks hilarious. He's a fat motherfucker, bro. Oh man, I like this video.
Desperate for a deal.
Jolo had more spending power.
Harrow, Jolo went to Wharton University in America, and he was continually trying to build his personal brands. For example, he wrote articles on stocks for the Wharton Journal, his university's newspaper. However, Jolo was just
Meet Joe Low. At just 28 years old, he managed to steal over $4.4 billion in straight cash from the Malaysian government, making him have more spending power than anyone else on Earth. This is the story of how an average teenager from an average town became an international playboy, financed the Wolf of Wall Street movie, bought his very own private jets, stole billions from a sovereign wealth fund, becoming a global fugitive in the process that's still on the run, all before his 35th birthday.
And now, Joe Low is on the lam.
Low is wanted to face criminal charges over the 1MDB scandal.
The huge mega yacht, that part of our money should be returned to Malaysia.
Let me explain. Joe Low was born into a well-off family. Definitely not billionaire kind of rich, but the I sent my kids to international boarding school kind of rich. His family put a lot of importance on education and sent him to some of the best schools in England and the US, which meant Joe Low rubbed shoulders with actual wealthy families, Middle Eastern royalty, old money trust fund babies, and the kind of kids that would expect a supercar and a performance by Britney Spears for their birthday. But despite going to the same school, Joe never really felt like he belonged. When his friends came to visit him in Malaysia, he used his dad's friends' houses and luxury yachts to pretend they were his own. He made friends with other Malaysian rich kids, and even called himself the Malaysian prince at school were his own. He made friends with other Malaysian rich kids, and even called himself the Malaysian prince at school. All Joe Low ever wanted was to be accepted into high society. He would spend hours researching cool music and hairstyles, blew off school, and did anything he could to make his rich friends respect him more. But it was
That's kind of like yeah, fake it till you make it. Yes. This yeah. Yeah, this guy takes that phrase to a whole new level. Oh. Oh.
never enough. He was still an outsider. So when he graduated, he decided to change that. He used his years of lying, faking being rich, and doing anything to fit in with the elites to set up his very own business that would one day make him a billionaire. You see, his life among the wealthy elite had taught him one thing. Wealth and influence, or even just the appearance of it, opens doors. And this lesson would make Joe Low one of the greatest con men the world has ever seen. Joe Low was born on a small Malaysian island called Penang. His family came from China, and his dad had made millions investing in a clothing manufacturing business. So Joe and his siblings were sent off to Harrow School in London, one of the most prestigious schools in the world, founded all the way back in 1572. Here, Joe got his first taste of real riches. His family's villa and millions seemed like a lot in Malaysia, but next to the kids of Middle Eastern oil tycoons and European royalty, the small wealth his family had started to look like chump change. He knew that if he could just make the right friends in the right places, he would be one step closer to joining the wealthy elite himself. So he lied about almost everything. About how much money his family had, who he was, where he lived, anything to get in with the rich kids. And it worked. One of his best friends at Harrow was Riza Aziz, the stepson of a Malaysian government official who would become essential to his scheme. For university, he chose the Wharton Business School in Pennsylvania. Not because of the world-class curriculum or teachers, but because that's where Donald Trump and Warren Buffett had attended. For his 21st birthday, he spent $40,000 of his dad's money to book out a nightclub and an open bar. He made everyone that was invited feel like VIPs because his school years had taught him another lesson. Everyone craves to feel important. Make people feel important, and they'll become addicted to the drug that is you. So he played on that. And when he wasn't busy wooing the rich kids, he was plagiarizing reports from the Wall Street Journal for his school's newspaper. For some reason, no one noticed. And Joe got the reputation of being a genius stock picker, all the while copying word for word what other people wrote. His plan was working. He was making all the right friends and building up his socialite persona far away from home. So when he graduated, instead of looking for work at an Her group was plagiarizing reports to feel important, make people feel important, and they'll become addicted to the drug that is you. So he played on that. And when he wasn't busy wooing the rich kids, he was plagiarizing reports from the Wall Street Journal for his school's newspaper. For some reason, no one noticed. And Joe got the reputation of being a genius stock picker, all the while copying word for word what other people wrote. His plan was working. He was making all the right friends and building up his socialite persona far away from home. So when he graduated, instead of looking for work at an investment firm or bank, he decided to start a company of his own. Little did he know the opportunities that were about to come his way. Joe's very first company was the Winton Group. He was planning to win tons of money, Winton, so the name stuck. He used his new Middle Eastern friends to get a meeting with the guys who ran Abu Dhabi's Sovereign Wealth Fund. You can think of a sovereign wealth fund as basically a government's hedge fund. They try to grow that money through investments to, in theory, reinvest back into the country. And Joe Low getting his foot into the door of Abu Dhabi's Sovereign Wealth Fund was a really big deal because it's one of the biggest sovereign wealth funds in the world. Today, it has nearly $700 billion, which is as big as Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. At his initial meeting with the fund, Joe realized something crazy. One of the biggest sovereign wealth funds in the world was run by just two young guys, both in their late 20s at the time. This got him thinking. Malaysia had a sovereign wealth fund, but nothing like Abu Dhabi's. Abu Dhabi's could also borrow money to invest. You could invest with leverage. If these two 20-something-year-olds could run Abu Dhabi's, why couldn't he run Malaysia's? But to do that, he would need someone with a lot of influence to back him up. But luckily, his years of networking had given him the perfect person. His best friend from school's stepfather, the Malaysian government official Najib Razak. At the time, Najib was Malaysia's deputy prime minister, just one step away from the top position. Even if he didn't have the power to hand over Malaysia's money to Joe, he was in a high enough position to give him all the support he needed. Joe Low just needed to get his attention. By luck, around the same time Joe Low was seriously looking for a way to get into Najib's good graces, Malaysia's sovereign wealth fund, called Khazanah, was looking for investors for a construction project. Joe immediately called his friends in Abu Dhabi and got them to agree to a meeting. Cleverly, he offered Najib all the credit if the deal went through, and when it eventually did go through, he became the deputy prime minister's favorite money man. Najib's newfound popularity for making deals happen helped him become the prime minister in 2009. Joe Low had bided his time and paid his dues. Now it was time to cash in. After Najib became prime minister, Joe Low found himself in a position of unlimited influence, and he wasted no time using it. As soon as Prime Minister Najib was sworn in, he approached him with the idea of creating a new sovereign wealth fund that will work just like the ones in the Middle East.
Just gonna throw away the Coke. I opened it yesterday, the Pepsi, and it's like took a sip and it's all like all the thing is like gone, you know. Or the carbons inside is gone, the bubbles. I can't feel it. I can't feel the quench, the thirst, you know. The pop on my neck. Got a new one. Coke Zero. I probably shouldn't drink too much of this. Like, it's not healthy. But, okay. Oh, my fucking back, bro. Oh my god, bro. Oh, bro. Fuck. Alright, let's watch the video.
Najib had complete trust in Joe's abilities, so he agreed. They called it the One Malaysia Development Berhad, or the 1MDB Fund. It was supposed to invest in green energy and tourism jobs. Najib was the fund's chairman, and Joe Low an unofficial advisor. Joe had the prime minister in the palm of his hand. Joe had helped him reach the highest point in the Malaysian governments, so whatever Joe requested was as good as done. Just imagine the kind of power you could have if you had the prime minister of any country in the palm of your hands. Just 2 months after 1MDB was created, it closed its first deal. Joe Low had convinced Najib and his wife that he had the key to Middle Eastern investments and introduced them to a Saudi Arabian prince. The only problem was this prince was no real prince and had no access to the oil money 1MDB were chasing after. The prince and Joe discussed 1MDB investing in the national oil company PetroSaudi, but here's the thing. The money they made wouldn't just go towards developing Malaysia, but it would also go towards the prime minister. The prime minister would be able to use the money for whatever political purpose he wanted. The idea of so much money at the prime minister's disposal must have been tempting, because it didn't take that much time for Najib to agree, and the deal of a lifetime was on. 1MDB would invest $1 billion into PetroSaudi. Just 1 month after meeting for the first time, the joint venture between 1MDB and PetroSaudi was signed. Joe Low had just successfully gotten permission to transfer a whopping $1 billion in cash from Malaysia's bank account to another bank account. But here's the thing. Since Joe was the one in charge of transferring that cash, he could obfuscate the transaction in a way where it looked like the Saudis got their $1 billion, but in reality, it went into his own pockets. See, Joe was smart. He had filled 1MDB staff with people loyal to him. So when the time came, they arranged for just $300 million of that $1 billion to be transferred into the actual joint venture account with PetroSaudi, while the rest of the $700 million flowed not to the PetroSaudi joint venture, but to Good Star Limited, a shell company with a bank account in Switzerland. The shell company was based in the Seychelles, a tiny yet infamous secrecy haven. Good Star Limited was what's called a bearer share company, meaning that whoever held the physical stock certificate, whoever held that literal piece of paper in their hands, owned the company. And who do you think held onto the single stock certificate of Good Star Limited? Joe Low. And this shell company that is very hard to connect to Joe Low just got $700 million richer. In exchange for the magic trick, Joe Low paid over $100 million to his two friends in Abu Dhabi. And after it was all said and done, Joe Low has successfully pulled off one of the greatest financial frauds in history, and was now halfway there to becoming a billionaire. How did he get away with this? He explained that Malaysia had to repay a debt before the joint venture could continue, and Good Star Limited was actually a company owned by the Saudis. I mean, I don't understand how all this high finance works. I guess I'll just believe what our sovereign wealth manager says. But Joe Low was far from done. With one successful con under his belt, Joe started looking for more. $600 million was great and all, but there was still opportunity to make even more. So Low focused on his next targets. Tim Lesner, head of Goldman Sachs Asia division. He had given him the special treatment he learned in school. He flew him out to Abu Dhabi, got him meetings with one of the richest sheikhs in the world, and made sure he had the complete luxury experience. Why was Tim Lesner a target? Because he was about to get 1MDB $3.5 billion from bond sales to buy coal power plants. They were going to package these power plants into one company and go public on the Malaysia Stock Exchange. Joe hoped this money would help cover 1MDB's losses. The only problem was 1MDB had no credit rating, so bond sales were almost impossible. Which is where Tim Lesner came in. He knew the right people to bribe to get the company listed, and that's exactly what he did. Over the next few years, Goldman Sachs gave 1MDB over $5 billion from bond sales. Every time they sent the money, a lot of it would be siphoned off into offshore accounts owned by Joe Low. He paid the Prime Minister and Tim Lesner's their cuts and kept the rest for himself. Joe Low was still in his 20s at the time, and he had played his scheme so well that he had governments and massive corporations eating out the palm of his hand, and his offshore bank accounts ballooned to billions. Now it was time to enjoy the fruits of his labor. For most of the billionaires you see on the Forbes list, most of their net worth is tied up in company stock, like Elon with Tesla or Bezos with Amazon stock. But Joe Low was different. His $4.4 billion was in straight hard liquid cash. He had more spending power than anyone on earth. Joe Low had finally made it. He was rich, and not just comfortable kind of rich. Oh no, Joe Low was obscenely rich. And now it was time to party. He would buy out clubs, throw secret parties with people like Leonardo DiCaprio and Paris Hilton, and even gave Kim Kardashian a Ferrari as a wedding gift. People like Leonardo DiCaprio and Paris Hilton, and even...
Yo, why does Paris Hilton look always so fucking like a freaking hoe in every fucking photo, bro? Bruh.
And even gave Kim Kardashian a Ferrari as a wedding gift. He bought a private jet, luxury yachts, and multi-million-dollar mansions all over the US. But not even that was enough. In an incredibly ironic move, Joe Low pretty much financed the entire Wolf of Wall Street movie with money he stole from the Malaysian government. Seriously, not making this up. He was such great friends with Leo that he gifted him millions of dollars of rare arts. Back in Malaysia, people were asking questions about the 1MDB fund and how the money was being used. But with the Prime Minister on his side, he didn't really have much to worry about. He bought the Prime Minister's wife millions in jewelry, financed the Prime Minister's political campaigns, and was always around when Najib needed advice. In exchange, the Prime Minister didn't care how much Joe took out of the fund. For Joe, there was nowhere to go but up. All he had to do was keep Najib in power, and he could keep spending. So he let the Prime Minister hand out millions to charities and throw massive campaign events on an almost limitless budget, all coming out of 1MDB. Joe Low was untouchable, or so he thought. By 2014, 1MDB was hemorrhaging money. It was losing more than it could explain. By this point, 1MDB went from apparently having billions to having 10 billion in debts and only $20 million in cash. Joe Low pulled a desperate move. He tried to make 1MDB shares public, hoping that the public would come flocking to buy shares and give him some cash to work with. But that didn't work. He and Goldman Sachs' Tim Lesner had become so caught up in the money and success that they were blind to the trouble they were about to face. And trouble came quicker than expected. By 2015, a Swiss banker named Javier Justo leaked over 230,000 confidential emails to the press. In this massive data dump was the information that would bring Joe Low's scheme to light. A journalist for the Sarawak Reports published an expose linking Joe Low and Prime Minister Najib to the disappearing money of 1MDB. This news caused a civil war in the Malaysian government. Najib and Joe denied doing anything wrong, but that didn't help. Hundreds of thousands of Malaysians protested against Najib and his government, but Najib still had faith he could stay in power and that everything would be fine. But as expected, he lost the next election and was arrested for trying to flee the country in 2018. And Joe Low, he was long gone. Almost $1 billion of the money he stole have been seized, but Joe himself has disappeared into thin air. All we know for sure today is that he's somewhere in China. His love for luxury and fame didn't die down though, as he's sometimes spotted in clubs or private parties, only to disappear soon after. The last widely reported sighting of him in the news was ironically in Wuhan back in February 2020, when the world was getting really riled up. The reason why Joe Low was able to pull off one of the greatest heists in history is because government funds are not transparent at all. Here is how it works. The government takes money from you at the point of a gun in the form of taxes, and they'll say it's for important infrastructure. Think airports, hospitals, research facilities, or California's high-speed rail that burned through $100 billion. Projects that provide people with electricity, housing, water, healthcare, internet, transportation, etc. And then they funnel your money into private companies that build that infrastructure. The problem is, in many cases, the only companies that get these contracts are the friends and families of the politician. The public has no idea how this money is being spent. There is no incentive to spend the money well. Money just gets taken from your wallet and is transferred to the pockets of your politician's friends and family. The problem is these infrastructure projects, these, we'll call them public-private partnerships, or P3s for short, are actually really important. Not only because they provide crucial infrastructure for us, but because they can be an extremely profitable investment. But as we mentioned, public-private partnerships have only ever been available to the ultra-wealthy and are ripe with corruption, thanks to how not transparent they are. That's where something called Delta P3 comes in. Much like startups that have democratized investing in things like fine arts, Delta P3 democratizes investing into these large-scale infrastructure projects that move the world forward. An asset class that's estimated to reach $3.8 trillion by 2040. That is more than the entire crypto market combined. That means when they launch, average everyday investors like yourselves will finally be able to get a piece of this pie. And it solves the problem of transparency in P3s by putting this murky industry onto a public, unchangeable blockchain, with Delta P3 being backed by Avalanche. If this sounds even remotely
look.
Nice, 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 nice.
Tesla billionaire Elon Musk has just exposed Justin Trudeau's corruption dealings. What has the Canadian Prime Minister done that has attracted Elon Musk's attention? Is Musk's evidence strong enough to an extent that it will make the PM resign? And how have Canadians reacted to this expose? Join me today in this video where we shall explore how Elon Musk has exposed Justin Trudeau's corruption.
Okay, one more sip and I'm done. That's it, I'm throwing it away. Like about half left. I don't think it's good, you know. Just drink the whole thing. I might have trouble sleeping. Oh, falling asleep. Oh. Okay, I threw away the whole thing.
You are probably familiar with the fact that Elon Musk traces his origin to Canada. The tech mogul was born to a Canadian mother and spent some part of his life in the country of his maternal origin before he finally moved to the land of opportunity. However, roots are roots, and it should not be a bother when Musk is censoring one of his own. Since Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister of Canada, his name has been the talk of Canadian politics. But be not deceived because he's trending on the wrong side of things. It wasn't long before Elon Musk himself had something to say about him. You know Musk's tweets are always nothing less than sarcastic, and this time Trudeau had to face it for himself. However, this was unprecedented. Musk got himself into a political controversy over vaccine mandates that the Canadian government hounded upon its citizens. Elon Musk replied to a post by cryptocurrency trade publication CoinDesk on Trudeau's mandatory orders aimed at cutting off funds to protesters who blocked border crossings and camped in the capital. In the post, Elon Musk tweeted a photo of Hitler adding a text that read, "Stop comparing me to Justin Trudeau" at the top, then with "I had a budget" at the bottom. The world's richest man was clearly insinuating something about the glaring weakness of the Canadian Prime Minister, who has for a long time been associated with corruption. Elon had previously shown his admiration for the Canadian truckers earlier in the protests and voiced that the Canadian government was unfair in suppressing peaceful demonstrations. Of course, Elon Musk's former post of Hitler attracted millions of reactions along social media lines. The strong censures particularly came from the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum for comparing the Canadian Prime Minister to Adolf Hitler. The Auschwitz Memorial tweeted to Musk, "Using the image of Adolf Hitler and therefore exploiting the tragedy of all people who suffered, were humiliated and tortured and murdered by the totalitarian regime of Nazi Germany created by him is sad and disturbing." On the same note, the American Jewish Committee voiced that what Elon Musk did was unacceptable and demanded that he apologize. However, Musk has since refused any request for comment and has since deleted the tweet. Yet the damage was done, and the Canadian Prime Minister was exposed for his corruption. Since the breaking of the COVID pandemic, the Canadian government gave vaccine mandates which were particularly restrictive to truck drivers in the country. To this extent, Elon Musk showed his displeasure with these restrictions, including the vaccination mandates, even though the vaccine has been proven safe and effective at curtailing the COVID pandemic. Speaking of the unvaccinated people, Elon Musk wrote, "You are taking a risk, but people do risky things all the time. The tech tycoon believes that the government should give the people the liberty to choose whether or not they want to be vaccinated. That is actually what makes America different from the rest of the world. A violation of this choice would be a clear indication of lost freedom," his tweet puts it better. "I believe we've got to watch out for the erosion of freedom in America. This kind of restriction or erosion, as Elon puts it, is the reason the tech billionaire moved from California to Texas."
Let's turn it over to Jordan Belfort, motivational speaker known as the Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan, did you see Mini Madoff coming, or were you one of the smart guys?
Well, I didn't have any money at FTX. I think the whole concept of like what FTX represented, which is a brokerage firm that's, you don't know how they're holding your money. It's overseas, and even these domestic operations in the U.S. are really lightly regulated. So I didn't lose money. It was, listen, I will admit, though, that not that I was fooled by it, but, you'd have no way of knowing how much fraud someone is committing unless you can look inside their books.
Well, what if you just look at what they're wearing?
Telltale signs.
What if the guy has an afro with gym shorts and he's shaking like this?
So the people that actually did due diligence, they actually should have their heads examined, because if I would have walked into this place and taken one look around, it would have taken me 5 seconds flat to say there's something amiss here. There's no way these guys are on the level. He was playing video games. They're all banging each other in insane. It was more like a frat house than a business, right? And the guy that took over, this guy Ray, was the receipt.
Nine views. Oh my god. Need a break. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh! Oh! something. Oh my god, bro. Oh, bro. Oh, arg.
What do you think about a fight?
What fight?
Your fight.
I think it's gonna be easy. I'm not worried at all.
You have to be a little nervous.
Not at all.
Every fighter is a little nervous.
It's gonna be easy.
He looks very strong.
Who?
Sammy from Germany.
Oh, is that who I'm fighting? He doesn't look like anything. I'll beat him easy.
Well, I don't think that's going to be easy.
I am the best player here. I'm going to win the fusion without a shadow of a doubt. I'm going to come out within 2 rounds the most, and whoever I have next, I feel sorry for.
What do you think about a fight?
What fight?
Your
I
fight.
think it's going to be easy. I'm not worried at all.
You have to be a little nervous.
Not at all.
Every fighter is a little nervous.
It's going to be easy.
He looks very strong.
Who?
Sammy from Germany.
Oh, is that who I'm fighting? He doesn't look like anything. I'll beat him easy.
Well, I don't think that's going to be easy.
I am the best player here.
Hey! Oh shit. I gotta charge this phone. It's a meeting. I have to charge this phone. Arg, 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 arg. Arg. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, arg. Hmm. Erg. Hmm.
Hello and welcome to another TLDR Global video. So I had a thought the other day. How much money actually is there in the world? Now this isn't a fact.
What was your name? Jay Spires. Jewish. again.
Fantasy of becoming the next Jeff Bezos and capturing all of the world's money via some moderately successful YouTube channels. No, I was wondering that with so much economic difficulty.
Yo, why does the storage keep going down? Keep going down. Why does it keep going down? Yo, I don't know. Oh my god, the storage is going down. It's 247.47. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of streams and I've noticed that this fucking storage keeps on going down. Like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. This stuff is... Mr. Beast. Oh. Pen.
So much poverty around the world How much money is actually out there? So in this video, we attempt to answer that exact question. Before we do, and to help with my monetary takeover, please consider subscribing to the channel. The majority of you haven't made the jump yet, so consider subscribing to help us out and ensure that you get all of our videos going forward on silly topics like this one and more serious stuff regarding ongoing wars, elections, and global leaders. Thank you so much for your support. You might look at the runtime of this video and be wondering how we could have possibly padded it out for so long. I mean, just count the money and give us an answer already. Well, firstly, I'm a professional YouTuber, so if there's one thing I'm good at, it's making videos long enough to fit in extra ad breaks. But secondly, and seriously, it turns out that it's not as simple as you might think, and the answer depends on what you think money is. That's because there's 5 different ways of measuring money, so-called money aggregates. These money aggregates have varying liquidities, which in plain speak refers to how easily and quickly you could convert something to cold hard cash. Hurdles such as paperwork and restrictions imposed by banks all reduce liquidity. A house, for instance, is a prime example of a relatively illiquid asset. It takes a bit of time to put on the market, sign the contracts, and receive the money, so it's not instant cash on hand. The first money aggregate, known as M0, is what we just explained as the simplest form, physical cash, nothing else. This is the narrowest, most literal definition of money. In fact, it's so narrow that there's very little in the way of statistics or data on this available publicly, in part due to the fact that more and more of us aren't using physical cash for purchases, with an ever-growing proportion of money being stored in bank accounts. In turn, most of those working in finance and central banks have little use for such a narrow definition of money. Regardless, if we go with this most narrow measure, then the total amount of money in the world is 6.6 trillion US dollars. This is such a big number that it's probably best to put in some perspective. If we converted all of that money into $100 bills, then that would weigh 66 million of statistics, or instance is a prime example of a relatively illiquid asset. It takes a bit of time to put on the market, sign the contracts, and receive the money, so it's not instant cash on hand. The first money aggregate, known as M0, is what we just explained as the simplest form, physical cash, nothing else. This is the narrowest, most literal definition of money. In fact, it's so narrow that there's very little in the way of statistics or data on this available publicly, in part due to the fact that more and more of us aren't using physical cash for purchases, with an ever-growing proportion of money being stored in bank accounts. In turn, most of those working in finance and central banks have little use for such a narrow definition of money. Regardless, if we go with this most narrow measure, then the total amount of money in the world is 6.6 trillion US dollars. This is such a big number that it's probably best to put in some perspective. If we converted all of that money into $100 bills, then that would weigh 66 million kilograms, roughly equivalent to 9 Eiffel Towers or 5,323 London double-decker buses. Perhaps an even easier way to visualize this is that if we laid all of the banknotes next to each other, this line would be 10.3 million kilometers long, or long enough to get to the moon and back 13 times, or alternatively, long enough to go around the world 257 times. The most important thing to remember here is that these calculations are based on the money being converted into $100 bills, the largest denomination. If they were $1 bills placed next to each other, you could get most of the way to Saturn. Perhaps, though, you're a proponent of a socialist utopia and favor redistributing not just some of the wealth, but all of the wealth. And maybe you want to know what would happen if you divided all of this money equally. Well, comrade, that would come to $860 each. In summary, that's a ton of money. But what's more interesting than the visualization of a ton of money? The visualization of even more money. So let's take a look at the M1 measure. This includes physical cash, but broadens the scope slightly to include bank accounts and the likes of instant savings accounts. M1 can be seen as the total value of money if everyone went to the bank and withdrew everything they could on the spot, So the £100 you have in your current account and 48 pence you have in your fixed savings account would be included. But that account where you have to give 3 months notice to withdraw, yeah, that one wouldn't. The total amount of money included in M1 is a little bit more than M0, about $28.6 trillion more. Or, as classic TLDR critics would allege, about the same amount that we've received in funding from George Soros. Using the same comparisons as before, let's do some visualizations. If we converted this into $100 bills, it would weigh 352 million kilograms. This is roughly the same as 48 Eiffel Towers and about 28,387 London double-decker buses. Again, if you prefer thinking about these banknotes laid down next to each other, all in one direction, then we'd end up with a 54.9 million kilometer banknote conga line. This is enough to go to the moon and back 71 times, or around the world 1,370 times. Okay, so let's take a look at what happens if you split this equally among everyone, for all of the socialist utopians out there. This would amount to about $4,586.92 per comrade. The M2 measure is wider yet. As with M0 and M1, M2 includes physical money and instant access deposits at banks and other financial institutions, but is broadened even further to include accounts with accepted maturities of up to 2 years, as well as those with notice periods of up to 3 months. In effect, if you hold a bond with a bank that locks away your money for 18 months, it wouldn't be included in the M0 and M1 measures, but would be included in the M2 measure. M2 is the biggest step up yet, from 35.2 trillion at the M1 level to a whopping 95.7 trillion at M2. Again, if we converted this into $100 bills, it would weigh about 957 million kilograms. But Jack, how many Eiffel Towers and buses is this roughly equivalent to, I hear you ask? Well, luckily for you, we worked that one out as well. It's equivalent to about 131 Eiffel Towers, or about 77,177 London buses. Again, if we were to make this into a conga line of notes, then we'd reach about 149 million kilometers, which is enough to go to the moon and back 194 times.
Oh, the princess emote. Yawning princess. Yawning. Oh. Oh, wait. Worst emote ever. Sometimes best emote ever. Riley. I don't want to play.
자, 이거 평생 할 필요 있나요? 20대 중후반에서 30대 초반까지 정말 한 5년 딱 미친 듯이 내 청춘을 갈아 넣으면은 저는 한 5년 정도면 지방에 있는 집 한 채 정도는 충분히 마련할 수 있다고 생각합니다. 안녕하세요. 예련남아입니다. 오늘은 정말 현실적으로 지금 내가 가진 스펙이 뛰어나지 않다고 했을 때 돈을 좀 많이 벌 수 있는 직업을 한번 말씀드려 보겠습니다. 우선 저는 지금 30대 초반이고 20대 때 나름 다양한 사업도 하고 이것저것 부업도 해보면서 이제 느낀 경험을 토대로 한번 말씀드려 보겠습니다. 일단 우리가 요즘 쉽게 떠올릴 수 있는 거는 최근 뭐 1, 2년 유튜브에서도 정말 유행을 많이 했고 스마트 스토어, 쇼핑몰, 그리고 뭐 지식 창업, 뭐 유튜브 등등 정말 제가 생각해도 다양한 방식으로 돈을 멋있게 버는 사람들이 많고 배울 점이 정말 많다고 생각합니다. 그런 업종들이 잘 됐을 때 다른 업종에 비해서 상대적으로 많은 부가가치를 얻을 수 있는 업종이라고 저는 생각을 합니다. 다만 진입장벽이 정말 낮고 경쟁업체도 많고 큰 회사들도 정말 많아요. 그렇기 때문에 또 한 번이라도 뭐 부업으로도 시도해보신 분들은 아 이게 정말 쉽지 않구나라는 걸 느끼신 분들도 계실 겁니다. 쉽게 설명드리면 우리 남보기에 좋고 우리가 보기에 되게 멋있게 돈 버는 것 같고 이런 업종일수록 사실 경쟁이 더 치열하고 거기서 살아남기가 더 힘들다고 생각하시면 되고요. 지금 말씀드린 이런 업종과 이런 분야들을 축구로 치면 프리미어리그라고 생각을 합니다. 사업을 뭐 단계로 나눠봤을 때 가장 정말 인기도 많고 돈도 많이 몰려있고 잘 됐을 때 또 큰 부를 얻을 수 있는 업종이라고 생각을 하고 자 그럼 제가 오늘 말씀드리는 정말 현실적으로 돈을 많이 벌 수 있는 직업은 상대적으로 몸을 조금 더 쓰고 남들이 보기에 조금 지저분해 보이고 조금 험해 보이는 일일수록 경쟁 자체가 확실히 낮아진다고 보시면 됩니다. 아까 제가 말씀드렸듯이 정말 똑똑하고 사업을 잘하고 마케팅을 잘하는 사람들은 프리미어리그에서 놀고 있습니다. 그리고 또 우리나라 사람들 특성상 몸 쓰는 걸 점점 더 안 좋아하는 것 같아요. 지금 뭐 코로나 때문에 그런 것도 있지만 뭐 배달 음식 그리고 택배 배송 이런 게 엄청 점점 더 대박이 나고 있는 거는 점점 더 이제 움직이는 게 싫고 정말 편한 것을 추구하기 때문에 이렇게 몸을 조금 쓰려고 하는 직업일수록 앞으로 뭐 정말 큰 돈을 벌긴 힘들겠지만 어느 정도 진짜 큰 수입은 충분히 올릴 수 있다고 생각을 합니다. 오늘 말씀드릴 직업은 일단 기술직입니다. 뭐 기술직이라 해서 뭐 국가 공인 기술, 공인 자격을 취득해야 되는 그런 기술이 아니고 일단 큰 범위로 봤을 때는 인테리어죠. 지금 우리가 거주하고 생활하는 공간에 들어가는 모든 인테리어를 이제 영업하고 시공까지 하는 그런 기술직을 말하는 것이고요. 저는 안전 방충망, 방범 방충망이라는 단가가 꽤 높은 그런 방충망을 판매를 하고 시공하는 사람이었고 예시로 이제 뭐 인테리어 업종을 한번 살펴보면은 도배, 샤시, 타일, 줄눈 공사, 커튼 설치, 뭐 중문 설치, 에어컨 설치, 에어컨 청소, 기타 등등 사실 엄청 많거든요. 제가 이런 업종에 3년, 4년 있었는데 정말로 그냥 페인트 묻은 막 냉장고 바지 입고 막 슬리퍼 신고 다니시는데 월 1,000만 원씩 우습게 버시는 분들 정말로 많습니다. 저 포함해서 제가 보기에 그렇게 돈을 벌었던 사람들이 큰 능력이 있었던 게 아니거든요. 돈을 그렇게 많이 벌 수 있었다는 거는 상대적으로 그런 걸 하는 사람이 많이 없는 겁니다. 돈이 많이 벌려도 아까 말씀드렸듯이 우리나라 사람들은 별로 그렇게 힘든 걸 안 하려고 해요. 이제 여기서 핵심은 기술만 있으면 안 돼요. 조금의 영업 능력과 마케팅 능력만 합쳐지면 됩니다. 사실 이거는 모든 업종에서 똑같겠지만 일단 영업력이 가장 중요하거든요. 여기서 내가 영업력이 없고 기술만 있으면은 그렇게 돈을 많이 벌지는 못할 거예요. 하지만 내가 기술이 갖춰진 상태에서 영업력을 조금만 키우면은 이게 합체가 되면은 이제 자 그럼 기술직의 장단점을 한번 살펴보겠습니다. 단점 아무래도 좀 몸을 쓰는 일이기 때문에 좀 많이 매일매일이 피곤할 수가 있고
그리고 이제 저 같은 경우도 예전에 몇 년 일할 때 이제 무거운 걸 좀 많이 들어가지고 이쪽 목이 조금은 뻐근하거든요. 아직도 조금 뻐근한데 이제 이런 후유증이 조금 있을 수 있습니다. 그리고 이것도 아무래도 서비스직입니다. 매일매일 고객을 만나고 응대하고 고객에게 보여줘야 되고 설명해줘야 되기 때문에 어느 정도 또 감정이 소비가 되겠죠. 그리고 남들이 봤을 때 있어 보이는 직업은 아니에요. 그래서 그런 거를 중요시하게 생각하시는 분들이라면은 좀 안 맞을 수 있죠. 자, 그렇다면 장점, 아까 말씀드린 대로 수익입니다. 웬만큼 괜찮은 기술직에 블로그 하루에 하나 정도 글 알차게 쓸 수 있을 정도면은 1,000만 원 이상 무조건 번다고 생각해요. 그리고 이제 식당이랑 비교했을 때 이제 식당은 손님이 오지 않아도 일단 문을 열어놓고 기다려야 되고 이제 그런 기술직 같은 경우에는 고객과 약속을 해서 이제 내가 보통 방문을 하는 경우이기 때문에 예를 들어 내가 집안에 일이 있거나 뭐 한 며칠 휴가를 가고 싶어. 그러면은 그냥 그 주는 일을 안 잡을 수 있습니다.
뭔 얘기야.
만약에 고객한테 전화가 오면은 오히려
좀 닥쳐라. 뭐 이상한 얘기를 하고 있어. Oh my god.
그리고 지금 부동산도 조금 하고 있어요.
지금 온라인에
어떤 거 같아요?
지금 등록되어 있는 상품이 몇 가지예요?
지금 이제 11만 4천 개 정도 올라가고 있습니다. 저는 팔릴 이유가 하나라도 있으면 그냥 다 올린다고 생각하시면 될 것 같아요.
안녕하세요. 바로 찍으시구나. 네, 반갑습니다. 집이 좀 너무 더럽긴 한데 간단하게 자기소개 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는 온라인에서는 본명은 아니지만 김명식이라는 이름으로 활동하고 있고, 저는 주로 해외 사이트에서 상품을 가져와가지고 국내 뭐 쿠팡, 네이버, 11번가 그런 곳에 물건을 대량으로 등록해가지고 판매를 하는 대량 등록 셀러라고 소개할 수 있겠습니다.
대량 등록을 뭐 잘 모르시는 분들이 많을 것 같아서
네.
대량 등록에 대해서 간단하게 좀 설명해 주실 수 있을까요?
내가 물건 올린 게 어떤 게 팔릴지 모르니까 모든 상품에 다 올려놓는 거라고 간단하게 설명을 하면 될 것 같아요.
여기 상품이 상당히 많더라고요. 에르메스,
에르메스,
샤넬이야.
이것들은 제가 최근부터 명품 수입 판매를 하고 있는데 이게 물건들이 어제 다 도착해가지고 까는 상태고, 에르메스나 뭐 샤넬 그리고 뭐 루이비통 그렇게 좀 하이엔드 명품으로 지금은 좀 판매를 많이 하고 있습니다.
그럼 대표님께서는 대량 등록도 하고 계시고 명품 수입도 하고 계시잖아요.
그렇죠, 네.
그럼 사업의 어떤 비중이 좀 제일 높은 게 어떤 걸까요?
대량 등록을 일단 저는 처음에 시작해가지고 애착도 가장 많고 제가 생각했을 때 가장 쉽게 돈을 벌 수 있는 건 대량 등록 셀러라고 해가지고 그거를 계속 하고 있고, 대량 등록이 저는 분명히 안전하다고는 생각을 하는데 메타가 바뀔 때마다 적응해야 되는 게 있어요. 그래가지고 가끔씩 매출이 출렁일 때도 있거든요. 매출 관련해서 안정성을 위해서 저는 명품 수입도 하고 그리고 지금 부동산도 조금 하고 있어요.
지금 온라인에 대표님 상품이 몇 가지 올라가 있는 거예요?
온라인에 올라가져 있는 상품으로만 하면 아마 10만 개 정도 될 것 같아요.
그 10만 개를 대표님께서 직접 수동으로 올리시는 게 아니라 이제 솔루션 프로그램을 이용해서 등록을 하시는 거죠?
네, 저는 정말 다양한 프로그램을 찾는데 지금은 제가 생각하는 가장 좋은 프로그램을 찾아가지고 그 프로그램만 뭐 10만 개 상품을 다 등록했다고 보시면 될 것 같아요.
왜 대량 등록이 어떤 매력이 있었을까요?
저는 사실 대량 등록은 사업이라고도 생각을 안 해요. 저는 이거는 그냥 정말 차익 거래라고만 생각을 하는데, 일반적인 사업이라고 하면은 중국이나 뭐 미국에서 대량 수입을 해가지고 파는 거를 사업이라고 저는 생각하는데, 그런 거는 어떤 게 잘 팔릴지 저가 먼저 시간도 들이고 돈도 들여야 될 거고, 근데 대량 등록은 저는 물건이 팔릴 거라고 생각하고 절대 올리잖아요. 제가 거의 대략 10만 개 정도 상품 올렸고, 지금까지 사실 올린 걸로만 하면 10만 개 훨씬 더 많겠지만 그 상품들을 올렸을 때 저는 팔릴 거라고 생각하지 않고, 이게 팔릴 이유가 하나라도 있으면 그냥 다 올린다고 생각합니다. 이건 옛날에 SM 엔터테인먼트 이수만 대표님께서 뭐 말씀하신 건데, 소녀시대 멤버들이 많았던 게 많은 사람들 중에 좋아하는 사람이 한 명도 없겠냐라고 말씀하셔가지고, 저도 뭐 비슷한 생각으로 이렇게 상품화하는데 5천만 정도 되는 국민들께서 제 거 하나를 선택해 주지 않을까? 그런 생각으로 좀 많이 올리게 된 거죠.
실례지만 나이가
저는 2000년생, 한국 나이로 23살인 것 같아요.
그전에는 어떤 일 하셨어요? 학생이실 것 같은데.
저는 고등학교 졸업하고 바로 이걸 했거든요. 졸업하고 나서 뭐 미국 수능이나 아니면은 뭐 영국 대학 입학.
와 2000년생이면
그전에는 어떤 일 하셨어요?
저는 2000년.
헐. 와 2000년생. 김명식이라 대단하다.
선생 한국 나이로 23살인 것 같아요.
그전에는 어떤 일 하셨어요? 학생이실 것 같은데.
저는 고등학교 졸업하고 바로 이걸 했거든요. 졸업하고 나서 뭐 미국 수능이나 아니면은 뭐 영국 대학 입학, 뭐 수학, 과외 그런 걸 잠시 했었어요. 아니면은 뭐 영국 대학 입학, 뭐 수학, 과외 나서 뭐 미국 수능이나 아니면은 뭐 영국 대학 입학, 뭐 수학, 과외 그런 걸 잠시 했었어요.
그래서 말씀 중에 영국 대학 입학이라고 하셔서
아, 네.
영국 대학이라고 하면 어딘가요?
아, 사실 제 어디 대학을 꼭 집어서 말하기는 좀 그런데 그냥 영국에서 가장 유명한 대학교 중에 하나 입학하고 1년 정도 갭이어라고 해가지고 유예기간을 주는데 그때는 저는 학비가 아예 없어가지고 1년 동안 학비를 모아가지고 내가 대학을 가야지 라는 생각을 하게 됐 그때는 저는 학비가 아예 없어가지고 1년 동안 학비를 모아가지고 내가 대학을 가야지 라는 생각을 하게 돼가지고 그냥 이거 사업으로 계속 진행했던 것 같아요.
아, 학비를 벌려고?
근데 그 숙박비랑 뭐 학비랑 합해서 1년에 1억 정도 생각하면 되거든요, 영국 대학교는. 그래서 내가 딱 1억 정도만 모으고 이제 학교로 다시 돌아가야지라고 생각했던 게 지금까지 이어지고 있어요.
20살 초반에
네.
학비하고 생활비를 1억 정도를 마련한다는 게 쉽지가 않잖아요. 본인 도움 없이는.
그렇죠. 제가 근데 그 숙박비 돼가지고 그냥 이거 사업으로
1억?
어디 대학을 꼭 집어서 말하기는 좀 그런데 그냥 영국에서 가장 유명한 대학교 중에 하나 입학하고 1년 정도 갭이어라고 해가지고 유예기간 주는데 그때는 저는 학비가 아예 없어가지고 1년 동안 학비를 모아가지고 내가 대학을 가야지 라는 생각을 하게 돼가지고 그냥 이거 사업으로 계속 진행했던 것 같아요.
아, 학비를 벌려고?
근데 그 숙박비랑 뭐 학비랑 합해서 1년에
돈 1년에 1억이야 완전 미쳤다. 1년에 1억이면 거의 미쳤는데.
1억 정도 생각하게 되거든요, 영국 대학교는. 그래서 내가 딱 1억 정도만 모으고 이제 학교로 다시 돌아가야지라고 생각했던 게 지금까지 이어지고 있어요.
20살 초반에
네.
학비하고 생활비를 1억 정도를 마련한다는 게 쉽지가 않잖아요. 본인 도움 없이는.
그렇죠. 제가 고등학교를 정말 비싼 데를 갔거든요. 어머님 연봉보다 더 높은 데를 갔어요. 그래가지고 부모님께서도 뭐 대학교는 너가 직접 해결해가지고 장학금을 타서 가야 된다라는 거를 누누이 말씀해 주셨고 당연히 1억 버는 거는 좀 어려울 거라고 생각했는데 생각보다 잘 돼가지고 경제적으로는 지금은 사실 대학교를 갈 수 있는 상황이었는데 지금 당장 대학교를 가는 것보다 제가 그냥 사업을 하고 있는 게 더 좋은 방향을 생각해가지고 지금 그냥 사업으로 계속 진행하고 있습니다.
그 부모님 입장에서는 사업하는 부분을
네.
좋게 보지 않으실 것 같은데.
아, 제가 생각했던 것보다 그렇게 좀 반응이 크진 않으셨어요. 왜냐면 제가 고등학교 때 사실 한국 고등학교에서 처음 1학년은 다녔었고 나중에 뭐 뉴질랜드, 뭐 러시아, 그리고 미국, 그리고 아프리카까지 다녔었거든요, 고등학교를.
Yeah, yo, dude, what the fuck is this guy? Okay, I've been to 10 schools and shit, like all till freaking like elementary till like kindergarten till high school and shit. But this guy, bro, this guy is just like this guy is crazy as well. What the fuck?
고등학교를
네.
여러 나라를 돌아다니면서 다니신 거예요?
네, 고등학교를 사실 저는 학교 과정 배운다기보다는 그냥 제가 새로운 나라 가서 그냥 거기서 거기 문화 배우고 거기 친구들 사귀고 거기서 뭐 언어 새로운 거 배우고.
금수저 같은데. I think he's like a rich kid.
그러면서 저는 그냥 혼자 공부했던 것 같아요. 그래서 그런 거 봤을 때 부모님이 어느 정도는 처음부터 포기하셨을 것 같아요. 얘는 좀 컨트롤하기가 어려운 애다. 대학교 안 간다고 했을 때는 한숨 한번 쉬시더라고요.
그럼 지금 현재 부모님께서는 대표님 하는 사업에 대해서는 만족하시나요?
지금은 사실 제가 신용도 그렇고 부모님도 제가 신용카드 제 걸 드리거든요. 처음에 걱정 많이 하셨는데 실질적인 걸 드리니까 그거는 그러니까 말끔하게 해결되더라고요.
그러면 저한테 이제 메일 보내주셨을 때 이 분야에서 탑레벨이라고 말씀하셨잖아요.
네네네. 탑 레벨이라고 말씀하신 그 이유가 있으실까요? 제가 무슨 생각으로 탑셀러라고 말하는지 모르겠는데 정말 여기서 잘하시는 분 많거든요. 정말 열심히 역배워 하시는 분들이 보면은 뭐 전 사실 정말로 귀여운 수준이겠지만 그래도 제가 뭐 주변 분들이나 뭐 그런 분들에 비해서 매출이 많이 나오고 순이익이 높은 이유를 몇 가지 꼽자면은 뭐 내가 수익을 어떻게 낼 수 있는지 아니면은 그 로스가 어디서 나는지 정확하게 분석을 해가지고 로스가 나는 부분은 없다고 느껴질 정도. 모든 업무가 지금은 다 체계화되어 있어가지고 사실 제가 없어도 저는 하루에 한두 시간 정도만 일을 해도 이 사업이 굴러간다고 하시면 될 것 같아요.
그 온라인에 등록하신 상품이 몇십만 가지 되잖아요.
네.
그 몇십만 가지 올리는데 그 적은 시간을 투자한다는 말씀이신가요?
이거를 당연히 처음부터 된 건 아니고 제가 2년 정도 그래도 실수도 많이 하고 돈도 많이 날려보고 하니까 이제는 그러니까 어떻게 진행되는지 느낌이 좀 오더라고요. 그래서 모든 부분들이 다 체계가 잡혀 있고 그거를 다 매뉴얼화했기 때문에 제가 사실 인볼브하지 않아도 업무가 그냥 계속 진행된다고 생각하시면 될 것 같아요.
그 대량 등록이 저도 전문적으로 알고 있는 건 아니지만 그 몇십만 가지의 물건을 올리게 되면 뭐 상세 페이지라던가 이미지라던가 이 매력적인 부분이 없을 것 같아요.
네네네.
어떤 차별점이 있어야 구매가 가능할 것 같은데
상세 페이지가 이뻐야 잘 팔린다, 뭐 키워드가 이뻐야 잘 팔린다. 그런 것도 제 생각으로는 사실 주관적인 거라고 생각해요. 제가 생각했을 때 이 사업에서는 주관적인 거를 최대한 빼고 객관적인 거를 최대한 많이 넣어야 된다고 말씀드렸잖아요. 제가 생각했을 때 정말 찐 정보는 정말로 팔린 내역이 찐 정보라 생각을 하거든요. 저는 이 사업에 처음 들어왔을 때부터 저는 다른 사람들이 팔린 내역을 보고 그것만이 찐 정보라고 생각을 하고 저는 그거를 머릿속에 데이터로 넣었던 거거든요. 상세 페이지가 꾸며지지 않고 뭐 키워드가 꾸며지지 않고서도 정말로 충분히 잘 팔릴 수 있다는 거를 제가 확인한 다음에 이 사업을 시작했고 지금 그거는 제 데이터로도 정말 확인을 시켜드릴 수가 있을 것 같아요. 작년 12월에 제가 2억 9,900 정도 팔았던 것 같아요.
매출이 2억 9,900이요?
2억 9,900이요. 이때 반품이 한 10에서 15% 정도였고 마진이 뭐 판매가 기준으로 25에서 35% 정도였던 것 같아요. 이거는 이제 저번 달 4월 매출인데 사실 이때는 제가 그렇게 열심히 하지 않았거든요. 이제 제가 다른 것도 준비하고 있고 다른 거 업무도 하고 그래서 상품을 많이 내린 상태에서도 2억 정도 나왔어요. 그때는 제가 마진을 좀 올려가지고 30 이상이었던 것 같아요. 제가 정확하게는 사실 확인 안 해서 모르겠지만
마진율이 30%라는 말씀이시죠?
네, 마진율이랑 반품률 같은 경우 제가 한번 직접 보여드릴게요. 그러니까 이거 같은 경우가 이제 22,000원에 팔렸는데 이게 12,000원 정도였고 4만 원에 팔렸는데 23,000원. 그리고 여기도 뭐 44,000원에 사가지고 89,800원에 팔았고 이거는 22,000원이었으니까 이거를 36,000원에 팔았고.
실례가 안 된다면 상세 페이지 같은 거 한번 볼 수가 있어요?
보여드릴게요.
네. 신발이네요?
그냥 진짜로 사진 하나 들어가 있죠.
사진 하나 들어가 있고 구매 후기 같은 것도 없네요?
구매 후기 없죠. 구매 후기 없고 다른 분들한테 말씀드리고 싶은데 사실 이렇게 해야 팔릴 거다라고 생각할 시간이 그냥 정말 물건 올리면 하나 정도 팔려 있을 거예요. 그렇게 말씀드리고 싶어요. 내가 다른 사람들이 이렇게 해야지 팔린다라고 생각하는 게 저는 좀 자의식 광이라고 느껴지거든요. 확실한 정보인 팔린 내역을 통해 가지고 데이터를 수집하고 그걸 통해서 나만의 방식을 만든 다음에 그렇게 물건을 올리게 되면은 판매가 일어나져 있을 거라고 저는 말씀드리고 싶어요.
최저가를 비교해 본다던가 상습을 잘 꾸몄는지 이제 그런 것만 보고 구매하시는 분들이 있는 반면에 정말 나한테 필요한 물건이 있으면 아무 비교 없이 구매하시는 분들도 있네요.
정말로 이거는 그 네이버에서 만약에 구매하시는 분은 네이버에서 구매하시고 쿠팡에서 구매하시는 분은 쿠팡에서만 구매하시고 지마켓 옥션에서 구매하시는 거기에서만 구매를 하시거든요. 그냥 저는 모든 상품을 모든 마켓에 다 올린다고 생각하는 게 약간 이 사업의 펀더멘탈인 것 같아요. 남이 어떻게 해야 살 거라는 거 자체를 생각을 안 하고 그냥 다 올린다는 거죠. 저는 한 가지 더 말씀드리면은 저는 처음부터 이건 차이 거래라고 말씀드렸잖아요. 제가 만약에 여기 상품에 대해서 엄청 꼼꼼하게 올리고 상세 페이지도 꾸미고 키워드도 만약에 엄청 꼼꼼하게 해서 올린다면은 이 상품을 하나 올리는데 정말 많은 기회비용을 투자한 거죠. 저는 근데 그 기회비용까지 투자를 하고 싶지가 않았던 거예요.
왜냐하면 보통 이렇게 하시는 분들은 잘 팔리는 상품을 분석하고 취약점을 보완을 하고 자기 상품 브랜드하고 이게 테크트리로 알고 있거든요.
그렇죠. 대부분의 분들이 위탁 판매를
네.
시작하고 그래가지고 거기서 뭐 문제점을 찾아가지고
네.
내만의 브랜드를 만들어가지고 저 여기서 마진을 높이고 그렇게 팔아라고 생각하는데 제가 하는 거랑 완전히 다른 거라 생각해. 이거랑 이거는 뭐 다른 분들은 이렇게 제가 하는 대량으로 방식 뭐 자기 재고가 없고 나만의 상품이 없는 상태에서 파는 거를 이게 영원하지 않은 비즈니스고 불안정한 비즈니스라고 생각하는데 제가 최근에 한 분을 만났는데 정말 대선배분을 만나셨거든요. 그분이 사실 제 아버지 뻘이세요. 아버지 뻘이신데 40대 중반 정도부터 시작하셔가지고 거의 지금 한 15년 차 이거를 하시고 계신데 그분이 이거 하시기 15년 전에도 이거는 뭐 불안정한 비즈니스다, 이거는 뭐 레드오션이다 그런 말을 엄청 많이 들으셨다고 하시더라고요. 근데 그분은 지금 15년 차 그걸 하시고 계시고 그 재고 없는 대량 등록 방식이라는 그 펀더멘탈은 똑같은데 그거를 핀트를 바꿔가지고 계속 메타에 적응하셔가지고 하시더라고요. 또 불안정한 비즈니스 아니고 영원히 이렇게 할 수 있는 거를 저는 그때 정말로 직감을 했었던 것 같아요.
대량 등록을 하다 보면 마진율이 좀 적다는 얘기를 알고 있었거든요. 마진율이 높은 이유가 뭘까요? 다른 분들에 비해서 마진이 좀 높은 편 아닌가요?
마진이 꽤 높은 편이죠. 그 대량 등록은 마진이 낮다라는 고정관념 때문에 마진을 계속 낮게 하시는 것도 있지 않을까 저는 개인적으로 생각을 하고 팔리는 이유에 대해서는 사실 제가 절대로 알 수가 없는 거거든요. 이거를 상품을 몰랐을 수도 있고 나 아니면은 안 파는 상품도 있을 거고 그런 다양한 이유가 있을 거니까 그거에 대해서는 그러니까 주관적인 입장으로밖에 설명할 수 없는 거라서 일부러라도 거기에 대해서 생각을 안 하려고 하고 저는 시스템적으로 한번 생각을 해볼게요. 시스템적으로 CS를 엄청 많이 하고 최저가를 만약에 구매하는 고객이라고 해볼게요. 그분들은 엄청 꼼꼼하고 어떻게 보면 엄청 똑똑하신 고객님들이라고 생각할 수 있어요. 저한테 만약에 CS가 온다고 하면은 이런 말에서 부끄럽긴 하지만 저는 제 상품에 대해서 모른다라고 말씀드리고 다른 분들한테 구매를 하라고 CS적으로 말씀드리거든요. 제가 생각했을 때 그 CS를 하면서 물건이 팔려서 매출이 높은 것보다 저는 그냥 CS를 안 하는 게 효율적이라고 생각해서 그렇게 하는데 그렇게 하다 보니까 엄청 꼼꼼하신 고객들을 저는 1차원적으로 걸을 수가 있게 되는 거거든요. 이런 부분이 저는 약간 다른 분들이랑 조금은 다르고 시스템적으로 제 업무 방식에 효율화했던 거라고 생각해요.
2년 좀 넘으셨잖아요.
네.
성장이 빠른 편이잖아요. 매출이라던가. 그럴 수 있었던 뭐 원동력, 이유가 있었을까요?
처음에는 돈을 많이 벌자지만 지금 그냥 내가 돈을 벌면서 그냥 발전하는 거 내 스스로 보는 것도 재밌고 내가 정말로 필요한 거에 대해서 학습을 하고 뭐 정보를 찾고 그러니까 돈뿐만이 아니라 그냥 내가 어제보다 그냥 똑똑한 사람이 되고 어제보다 좀 더 머리에 들은 게 많아진다라는 그 느낌이 사실 너무 좋은 것 같아요. 지금 당장.
명문대학교에 학교까지 하셨는데 진학을 안 하신 분 후회는 없으세요?
저는 지금 상태에서 엄청 만족을 하거든요. 제가 그 스티브 잡스 연설을 들었던 것 같아요. 그때 스티브 잡스가 그냥 점을 많이 찍어라. 그냥 너가 열심히 할 수 있는 아무거나 열심히 해라. 근데 그렇게 하면은 나중에 그게 성이 될 거고 연이 될 거라 그런 식으로 말을 했던 것 같은데 제가 앞으로 뭘 할지는 저는 잘 모르거든요. 근데 지금 제가 하는 게 재밌고 열심히 할 수 있는 일 찾았잖아요. 그냥 묵묵히 열심히 하다 보면은 이 열심히 한 게 어떻게든 성과로 이어질 거다라고 생각하거든요. 그래서 꿈을 뭐 정하고 그거에 대해 달려가기보다는 내가 지금 당장 열심히 할 수 있는 거를 찾았으니까 그것만 열심히.
Yeah, that's a mindset. Easy mindset, bro. 목 아파. 왜 이렇게 목이 아프지? I gotta take a break, bro. Yo, I'm gonna end the live stream. I've been streaming for 2 hours and 28 minutes. Ain't got no views, bro. Just so tired, bro. I have a headache, so I'm gonna take a little break. Yeah. It's 9:26. I need a little break. Bye. I really need a break.